All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am your instructor, Pierre, Houey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. We are back studying live. You know, I got my StreamYard back, so you know what it is. Previously, we did a question, we did an answer about the sebaceous glands. We're gonna talk about that right now, if StreamYard lets me. Okay, cool. And let me know if you can hear me too. But we're gonna make this one short and quick. We always got to do like a test live. You know what I mean? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Sebaceous glands. All right, they are oil glands. Let's talk about it. Sebaceous or oil glands of the skin are connected to the hair follicles. These glands consist of little sacs with ducts that open into the hair follicle where they secrete sebum, which is spelled sebum. Sebum, which lubricates the skin and preserves the softness of the hair. With the exception of the palms and the soles, these glands are found in all parts of the body, particularly the face and scalp. I might even make that a question. Sebum is a semi-fluid, oily substance produced by the oil glands that flows through the oil ducts leading to the mouths of the hair follicles. And if you remember, hair follicle is a tube-like opening, okay? All right. When the sebum becomes hardened and the duct becomes blocked, a blackhead is formed. The primary function of sebum is to act as a shield that prevents moisture from evaporating from the skin surface. That's going to be something that's going to be very, very, very important later. So I'm going to say it again. The primary function of sebum is to act as a shield that prevents moisture from evaporating from the skin surface. All right. So anytime you're talking about sebaceous glands, you're talking about the skin primarily, and you're talking about the hair. But before anything, if you reference the picture that I sent you with the answer, if you reference the picture, you will notice that the sebaceous gland is in the dermis layer of the skin. Okay. So primarily you're dealing with skin, and then you're dealing with hair. But it comes from the skin first, within the skin, within that layer, and then goes to the hair. All right. So if you're talking about sebaceous glands, you are definitely talking about the skin. All right. So let's talk about the absorption level of the skin when we're talking about sebum, which is secreted by what? The sebaceous gland. All right. Although the skin serves as a protective barrier against microorganisms and chemical absorption, very few, when I say some, very few, topical products and creams are designed to penetrate this barrier for medicinal purposes. All right. Do not be fooled by most of these products. There are only a certain few that does what it says it does when it comes to absorption in the skin. All right. Limited absorption occurs through the skin cells, the hair follicles, the sebaceous glands, and the sudoriferous glands, and allows for the entry of specialized drugs or chemicals into the body. For example, antiseptics may be used to reduce the risk of skin infections, or vitamin creams used to support skin repair. The amount or level of absorption that takes place is dependent upon the thickness and the amount or level of absorption that takes place is dependent upon the thickness and the location of the skin on the body, the concentration of the product, and the frequency of the application. All right, real quick, we're going to talk about functions of the skin, and we're going to be right back out of here. All right, we're already at 4 minutes. Okay, principal functions of the skin are 6: protection, sensation, heat regulation, absorption, excretion, and secretion. Okay, you have 6 principal functions. Now the skin has other functions, but these are the 6 main that we're looking for, that we're talking about. Okay, protection, sensation, heat regulation, absorption, excretion, and secretion. Okay, protection. The skin protects the body from injury and a multitude of pathogens. The outermost layer of the epidermis covered with a thin layer of sebum, which we talked about earlier, which renders it waterproof. The skin is resistant to variations in temperature, minor injuries, some chemical substances, and many potential pathogens. All right. The skin also provides protection for internal organs, arteries, veins, and bones. All right. Next, we're going to talk about sensation. The skin responds to heat, cold, touch, pressure, pain, and movement through its sensory nerve endings. Stimulation of a sensory nerve ending sends a message to the brain, which then stimulates a response. When you scratch an itch or pull away from a hot object, you are responding to the stimulation of sensory nerve endings and the message they convey to the brain. Some of the sensory nerve endings responsive to touch and pressure lie in close relation to hair follicles. Okay, let me say that one again. That one is very interesting that a lot of people don't know about, including myself. I didn't know that either. All right, some of it, which it should make sense though, right? Especially when you talk about hearing and other senses. All right, some of the sensory nerve endings responsive to touch and pressure lie in close relation to hair follicles. All right, next we got heat regulation. It is a function of the skin that protects the body from the environment. A healthy body maintains a constant internal temperature of about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also 37 degrees Celsius. As changes occur in the outside temperature, the blood and sweat glands of the skin make necessary adjustments to facilitate the cooling of the body. Processes such as the evaporation of sweat to cool the body or the closing of pores to retain heat are examples of this adjustment and are regulated by the hypothalamus in the brain. Next, we got absorption. Absorption beyond the top layer of skin is limited, but it does occur. Some medications are designed to enter the body through the skin, where they are slowly absorbed and dispersed. Products designed for skin care are not intended to be absorbed beyond the top layer of skin, which is what the epidermis. Okay, it's not going deep within the dermis and then being absorbed by all the shit going on beneath your skin. We can go back and forth about that all day long with hair products. And if you want to smoke about that shit, I got the smoke, especially for that one. Another story. All right. Excretion. Perspiration is excreted from the skin. Water lost by perspiration carries salt and other chemicals with it. Humans perspire 1 to 2 pints daily. Perspiration is made up of water, salt, and chemicals. Okay. And last, you got secretion. Sebum, S-E-B-U-M, which we talked about earlier, is secreted by the sebaceous glands, which was our previous question. All right. Sebum is secreted by the sebaceous glands and lubricates the skin and hair, keeping them soft and pliable. Sebum secretion is affected by hormones and emotional stress, which may increase the flow of sebum. All right. So basically, just remember this. If you don't remember anything else from this live, and if you don't remember anything else from the question and the answer previously, okay? Sebaceous glands are oil glands. They secrete sebum, which is a natural oil that provides moisture to the skin and the hair. It is in the dermal layer beneath the skin. It is in the dermal layer, which is well below the epidermis, which is the surface of the skin. All right. All of that stuff is going on. And again, refer to the picture from the question, from the answer to the original quiz question that I asked yesterday. I provided the answer today. You can go to all my platforms and you can find the answer to, you can find the answer, you can find the diagram, you can find the explanation, and you can find the relevance to everything. All right. So within that, we're underneath our 10 minutes, as I would like to do on a regular basis. Now, you will be seeing me once again. If you haven't been seeing me, you can follow me all social media platforms at Pierre Houey, Pierrehouey. Okay, I help barbers pass their exams, especially theory, and working on getting them to pass their practical, but primarily the theory. With that being said, I'm your instructor, Pierre Houey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience. I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.